I mean, it doesn't completely hide it, but let me say it no, it does hide the fact that the master cylinder sits so close to the valve cover. So that works out. Welcome back to the workbench where we try to make things. And what we're trying to make right now is Revell's 1971 Mach 1 Mustang. And this is for the Blue Ox Model Shop Street Machine group build. We're making progress. And where we're making progress now, or at least where I made progress between yesterday and today, is in the engine compartment. And as you can see, I finally got the engine, the plug wires for the engine finished. I think they turned out okay. And with those plug wires in place, I was able to get the motor in place in the engine compartment. So we can kind of take a closer look at how that's going to look. I think it came out, I think it looks okay. It's a little messy, I think. I mean, it's kind of organized mess, I guess. And a lot of times that's, especially a used vehicle, that's kind of what the plug wires end up looking like. So I'm okay with that. You know, the plug wires come on and off. You know, you're working on your car, you're checking the plugs. The plug wires get a little bit of messy. At least mine always did. So I think they look okay. I learned a lot, and I think that's what's most important is I learned a lot while doing the plug wires. So next time I think I could probably do a cleaner job. But anyways, I think it looks all right. What it does do is allow me to get the motor in place. So now I can start to see how other things in the engine compartment are going to need to fit. Now you remember this wire here that's our fuel line, which is going to go up and over the tunnel. What do I have I can point with around here? This is gonna go up and over the tunnel here, or over the transmission, and then we're gonna have soft line that runs to the carburetor. I've got the solution. If you check yesterday's video, I've got the solution for a filter. I think I'm just gonna do an inline filter, either here or maybe I'll even mount it to the firewall so I can go hard line to the filter, soft line to the distributor. I haven't decided how I'm gonna do that yet. I think I'll hook up some kind of little throttle linkage here that just kind of runs down that direction and disappears into the firewall kind of thing. I could probably just use wire, I think, and then like a soft line, for the throttle linkage kind of sheeted, what do you call that? Is it sheathing around the throttle linkage from about here down, and then bare wire into the carburetor itself. Now remember, I think I have it up here somewhere. Yeah, we've got this air filter that's going to be sitting here. Let me see if I can get it to just kind of balance on there. So it's going to that's obviously it's crooked, but that's going to cover up a lot of that. So we're kind of just see the wires coming out. So we don't have to get I don't think get too detailed. Get out of there. Come on, give it back. I don't think we have to get too detailed in there, just kind of give the impression that oh yeah, I did run my coil right here also. So this is actually the coil from this model, the motor that was supposed to be in this model. And I just mounted it where it had it mounted for that engine on this engine, which is right here. It has a little bracket, makes it look like it's mounted up right there. I got my coil wire running kind of down there to it. I think it works, I guess. You can let me know down in the comments, what do you think? What do you guys think about my wiring job? Did it turn out okay? I guess it's all right. But also, I got to keep in mind, so this motor is not installed yet. It might as well be. It's so tightly squeezed in there. And it's going to get even tighter because I've got this wire here is brake line, which I need to bring over to this side. And I did not bring it up, or did I bring it up with me? I did not, because the paint was drying on it. I've actually got a proportioning valve that's going to be living right in here that I'm kind of working out. Again, I found a piece that'll work for that in yesterday's episode. If you want to get caught up, by the way, there's always a playlist down in the description. So if you want to go back to yesterday's video to see what we're using for the filters and the proportioning valve, just check that playlist down in the description. It's always there. In all of the series I do here, I've got playlists down in the description. Anyways, so I've got to get this over there, and then I've got brake lines that have to run to this side and then back over onto this side. This is the brake line to the rear brakes, so that's already run. So it's going to have to hit the proportioning valve that's going to be over here. So we've got to get that fitted in. I've got heater hoses that I need to run back this way. So I got to make sure I'm able to get those fitted in. I think I'm going to take, so one will be coming from down here from the water pump. The other one should be coming, I think, it looks like it's right beside so this is, or maybe you can't see what I'm pointing at. Our upper radiator hose comes out here, and looking at this intake, it looks like the other heater hose will come out here, and I want to run it down, I think, below the plug wires back to the firewall here. So I've got to prepare, I got to get prepared for that. I've got to, you know, make sure that that's all going to fit in there, along with the upper radiator hose that's going to run here. But that should be pretty easy. I just want to make sure I have room for everything. And one thing that we definitely needed room for was our Optima battery. If you go back and check yesterday's video, the place where this battery sits, the stock battery that came with this kit sits, this larger sized Optima battery, this yellow top Optima, would not fit. So what I had to do, and actually, you know, you can probably see it better from the side, I just basically cut out, there was a tray that kind of bumped out right here, and that's what was keeping the battery from fitting. It would push it into the radiator here. So I was able to just cut that out, and then now I can sit the Optima battery. Let me get it to sit down in there. I can get it to sit down in there like so. I'm going to build a little bit of a tray because I want it to sit a little bit higher. You can see it just kind of, it drops pretty good ways down in there, and it's a little crooked. I can straighten that out. Basically, we'll be able to put it where we want it, which is more like right here and then up. The concern I have, okay, so two concerns I have. One, I need to put this into the body and make sure that this is going to be okay to build a bump out here. It should be. I don't think that's going to interfere. Let me put a tire in, a wheel in, I should say, which they sit here. It's going to be, it'll be close, but I think we should be okay to build that bump out in the fender well, because this actually is going to sit. Let me see if I can kind of snag it and set it up there. Come on, get up there. Well, it's not the easiest thing to do, I guess. It's the corner of this battery actually kind of sits out in that just a little bit, but not much. Yeah, just like that. So just barely do we need to bump that out on this side. What I need to do is put this chassis into the body, which I think I'll do in between episodes just to see what we're going to have to build here. Because if this doesn't even show, if you can't even see it, I'm not going to worry with it. I'll probably just leave it because, well, I take that back because you'll be able to see from the inside. Yeah, I might as well do it right. I'll build out that box behind there so we can paint it all black and it'll look right. Now, my concern is now, let me kind of straighten that up. You can see where our power terminal is, our positive terminal is, I should say, is right here. And I got to make sure I can keep that battery back a little bit because I don't want, we've got two power wires that have to come out of this terminal, and I don't want them to hit the radiator or the radiator to be in the way of that now. And I'd like for them to come straight out and go straight down and then back. And I think I've got it kind of carved out enough there, yeah, that it's going to be okay when I get the battery straight like so. Now the battery's going to sit a little higher because I'm going to put a flat tray under there. I think we'll be okay to get battery cable out of there, but I've got to get all this stuff in place to find where all these wires and pipes and tubes and hoses and everything else, where all that's going to live. And I think, as long as I'm not really forgetting anything, I think that's all that's going to need to go into the engine bay. We've got battery cables, heater hoses, throttle linkage, fuel, brake lines. Now, if I really wanted to get silly, I could, like, this is our vacuum canister back here. I could run vacuum off that. We've got some electrical doohickeys that go here. I could run some wire from those. I don't know. We'll see if we do that or not. At the end of the day, I'd kind of like, to me, it looks good for the engine bay to just kind of be full. Sorry, at the same time, I'm trying to move my little wire loom back where it needs to go. It's all just kind of filled up, because that's what an engine bay generally looks like, especially when you drop a big block in it, like this guy. It just gets super full. There's no empty space, right? We've all tried to change the spark plugs on one of these things, and you're squeezing your hand through everything. And that's just the way it is. You know, it gets tight on one side and it's easier on the other. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that does bug me is how close this master cylinder is to the valve cover, but it is what it is. Oh, the other thing I need to mention too, in fact, I have it right here. I haven't painted it yet. we've got a strut tower brace that has to go in on top of this, right? Like so. So I've got to keep that a little bit in mind. It's going to sit right in here, this, which is not going to be like that, but I got to keep, oh, I think it's upside down too. Hold on. No, that was correct. I think, which way does this go? Yeah, this is the right way. Okay. Yeah, we've got this strut tower brace that's going to go in here, which actually is going to help kind of hold the motor in place, which also reminds me, I'm contemplating, let me flip this over. The battery's going to fall out, so let me do that. Let me flip this over. I'm contemplating whether I put, I've got motor mounts. I've got these motor mounts. I'm contemplating whether I even put them in or not. I guess I can try to squeeze them in there. This motor, it's not even glued in, and you can see it fits so tightly that it's essentially installed as we speak. I mean, I will glue it because it needs to go. It's going to get glued down. In fact, is that sitting all the way down? Let me see. It's close. It's going to squish. You know, actually, that's where it's going to be. So it's all the way down. I mean, it's literally in place. And once we put, my point being is once we put the upper strut mount in here, that's going to completely hold the motor in place because it's sitting on top of these valve covers, which actually, you know what? It hides the fact, it doesn't completely hide it, but it does hide the fact that the master cylinder sits so close to the valve cover. So that works out. I like how that works out. Yeah, so that's going to be good. I like how it's coming together. Let's get our battery back in. We can kind of get a final look at how the engine bay is coming all together. In between episodes, I'll kind of finish getting all those hoses and pipes and tubes and everything else that has to go in there. I'll finish getting those all done. I'm going to box in the battery tray here. I'm going to box it in and actually put in a battery tray. I'm thinking about even, I guess maybe doing some, I don't know. I was thinking about doing a hold down. It's getting to where it's getting to be more than I really wanted to do at the end of the day. Let me throw this in so we can get a kind of look how that's going to look. You know, one concern I do have before we head out of here is this distributor sits pretty tall. So I'm hoping it doesn't hit the hood. I've been avoiding actually putting it in the body and trying to put the hood on. If it does hit the hood, maybe we just kind of mount the hood open. I don't know. We'll figure that out when the time comes. But anyways, I'm going to complete the engine bay here, or get as much of it completed in between episodes as I can, because as soon as it's all done, we can put our rear end in, we can put our exhaust in, and then we're getting home free as far as kind of custom stuff has to be. At that point, we're just painting body, just final install kind of stuff, final body work, final install. Anyway, so let me get that done in between episodes. Let me know what you think so far. Let me know down in the comments section what you think so far. I was going to mention that I do have our battery cable and stuff. Here's our heater hose that we're going to be putting in. But let me know what you think down in the description. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you've really enjoyed. Keep up with these builds that I'm doing. By the way, just a little housekeeping. I've moved, if you happen to also watch what I'm now calling the craft builds, I've moved those to 8 a.m. The model builds, which is what you're seeing now, are staying at 4 p.m. That's not going to ever move. But I did move the craft builds to 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm trying to separate them a little bit just for YouTube purposes. So if that's something, if you watch both of these, the craft builds and the model builds, that's where they're located at now. I'll try to put it in the header, and I think I'll do a community post about it also. But anyways, hit the subscribe button, like button, bell button, follow button, hit all the buttons. Do all those buttons you do on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.